right, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode. Everquest XP. We've got a working title for now. I just wanted to give a quick end of the week report here. I got some stuff to talk about, some topics I want to hit, and I gotta say I'm really happy with how things are going. It's reinvigorated my spirit. Is probably the best way to say it. My spirit of engagement. It's just been nice. It's, I'm just happy with the way things are going. There's some things I want to talk about. There's some issues, like notwithstanding some issues, which I'll discuss here on this short little episode. Generally, the experience of starting up this podcast has been like an extreme value add in the way that in my life. So thanks everyone who's been listening. Thanks for people that have commented or sent messages. It's super encouraging. And I'd like to stay active here. So I'm still in the process of getting some more guests on the show, talking to people now, and I don't want to set any strict rules of how often or have new episodes will come out, or like have a strict schedule. I'd like to just continue practicing the creation of this podcast and continue seeing how it evolves. I just have a hard when I start to decide how things are supposed to go, and I start to schedule my life out in that way, it makes me nervous. That's all. So I'm just not there yet to be able to say specifically when these things will come out. I'm just going to keep trying to do my best. I've got a long history of doing creative endeavors, and I've been a musician. I've been a writer, a filmmaker, podcaster, all different areas of interest, different subjects of exploration. So I have some experience with this, and I want to have. I'm interested in a new experience, and I'm aware that nothing I've done has ever really succeeded, in the sense that I was able to maintain a regular. Not a regular output. This is the thing. Let me just be completely transparent. I was always trying to get something or get somewhere or be somebody. I always felt like if I could just create a life that I felt suited me, I would be happy, or I'd find my place. Like there's a Rugrats episode back in there. I'd find my place in the sun. So every creative endeavor that I've attempted the last 10 plus years, whether it's an app that I designed and created, whether it was the hip hop albums that were produced, whether it was the podcasts of existential meditative self-exploration, or the writings I would do, the videos I would make. I mean, there was always like somewhere or something I was trying to get, and I would and I think that's just a poor space to create from. Honestly, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. And the difference about what's going on now versus what I have been doing the last 10 years is it's how do I say it? This is being done for the sake of itself. That feel like I'm creating connections, and I'm creating friendships, and I'm creating a community, or not. I'm not even creating it. I feel like this podcast is giving me an opportunity to feel part of a community that I love. Just because I'm a weird person that, we were leveling last night in Plane of Fire, and I've just now gotten comfortable putting myself on comms, on the Discord comm to do voice chat while playing. It's just it's I guess in some sense I'm kind of socially awkward, and it's getting easier. Because last night or this week, the two nights that I played this week, I was able to join comms, talk, share, and I wasn't so anxious about it. So yeah, so it's this thing has been a really really big positive in my life, and I'd like it to keep going. Couple of topics to talk about. So I had two sessions this week, Wednesday night and Thursday night. Wednesday night was great because I logged on to join my small man group. So in Planes of Power expansion, there's all these raid level targets that you can take down with a smaller group of people. Sometimes 3 people, sometimes 6 people. And I joined a group or have been playing with a group of people from the guild, and I got to do that Wednesday night, and it's really cool because it's kind of like a mini adventure. It's different than the raids that we run, because in the raids everything's really organized and I know my role and I'm just going. But when there's only 6 to 12 of us trying to complete something, it's a different type of experience. It's like we're going in. Who do we take? What did we do first? We did the seventh hammer. So we went into the plane of justice, and we snaked ourselves through the map to get up to the portal area, where there's like these judge guards, like standing in front of these portals that take you to these different trials. And we went and did the justice trial. I think that's what it was. And that's where the god's seventh hammer was. And yeah, so we're all standing around, we're buffing ourselves up, and Zooted was our leader for that night. And he's like, everybody ready? And I don't think everybody was ready, but I was ready, so I said, let's roll. And he just charged the seventh hammer god, and then begins to die very quickly. And luckily the rest of the group woke up and started healing him, but everybody was still buffing. I guess we just got too excited about attacking, and we managed to take down the seventh hammer. Nothing really great dropped on the server that we're playing on, Teak. They have random loot, and certain targets have the possibility to drop tier 1, which is like the best quality loot that you can get from the highest, most difficult raid encounters can drop from targets like the seventh hammer. And yeah, so we did that, and didn't get much. We didn't really get any good loot, so we went to the next target, which was in the plane of disease. Yeah, I think it was plane of disease. It was Grummus, and that's a cool zone to enter into because it's like a putrid pit of rivers of boogers and pestilence. And you invis and levitate through the zone, and you fly into the main castle area. And then we fought our way up past the first kind of named guard, and then we fought into the castle, and then we killed Grummus, which is like a giant. How would you describe him? He kind of looks like the Nightmare Before Christmas villain, the Boogeyman. That's what he kind of looks like. And he was pretty easy. There was like a giant spider that we had to fight before we got to him too, and we lost one of our guys in that conflict. We did lose one guy, got killed, but we revived him. And no real good loot dropped from that. But it was still fun, and we did roll out the stuff that did drop. Afterwards, we did snake loot, which is everybody does /random 1,000, and the order that you get, the highest to lowest, you get to pick out the first choice of loot, and you just go down that list, and then when it gets to the bottom, you restart, you just go back to the top. And I got like I picked out like a paladin Shadow Knight pole arm, like a giant pole arm thing just because it was fun. And it just was like, I don't know if I'll ever have a Shadow Knight that's leveled enough to use it, but it's in my bag. It's giant, so it doesn't fit in any of my bags. So it's gonna sit in my bank. And yeah, so that was the adventure of the small man experience. So after the small man group ended, existential slash dread posted in the guild chat that he wanted to kill this target named Shade. And this Shade target is in the plane of nightmares, and he's like a shadow person on a horse, and he hangs out in this little walled in area on the map. And you can kill that guy. He can drop the best, not the best, I think he does drop T1 loot. He definitely drops a Shanai, which is one of the weapons I really want to get for my monk. It's the best weapon the monk can possibly have, is a Shanai of the Ancients in the main hand slot, and he has a chance to drop it. And this target Shade in the Plane of Nightmares can be soloed by a single shaman. So a shaman with enough AAs can slow the target, and then I think a person in our guild managed to take Shade down in like 30 minutes, but the general average is about an hour to solo it on a shaman. But Valia, I think is her name. She did it in 30 minutes, but she's also like maxed out, and she knows what she's doing. But I think an average shaman player could do it in an hour, and then you get your choice at all the loot that drops. It's all yours. So it's a small man target. So Dread Existential posted that he was seeing if anybody wanted to go after it. And I had just finished with Zooted, so I said, yeah, I'm down. We met up at the Agent of Change, and he was on his mage. I was the monk. And then he said, we got to get a cleric or a shaman. That'll help. And then we brought in a new guild member who just joined 2 weeks ago named Floyd. And he was on a shaman. And we opened up the DZ, and we went in there. And Dread wanted to do a skip, where we climb up a tree in the Plane of Nightmares. You climb up the trunk of it, you look up and just press up, and you'll climb up it, and you go up a branch that's pointing to the north. You go through foliage, and you keep climbing up, and you get to the edge of the branch that's pointing north. And then you run off it with Levitate. You run off it and aim yourself on your map towards the Shade target, and then you'll float over the invisible wall, and you can just land in the area right there, right near Shade, and fight him. If you don't do that, the way to do it is you have to go swim through like an underwater tunnel, but apparently it's tough because the creatures in that tunnel will stun you, and if you don't have fast enough swimming, you'll get stun locked and die basically. Or you just have to spend 45 minutes killing all those monsters in that underwater tunnel to get to the Shade. So Dread wanted to do this skip, which I was familiar with because we'd ran Vexthal all of Luckland doing these invisible wall skips. So I love stuff like that, by the way. I love weird game breaking mechanics and speed hacking things that you can do. Like one of the best raids I ever went, one of my favorite raids we've done was a raid where we just went on test server, and they basically taught us how to do these skips, and that's what we spent the night doing. And to me, that was the most fun because I was watching him on his he was screen sharing, and then we were all practicing it, and we did that the whole expansion. So anytime there was a Vexthal target, we would go do this invisible wall skip up the mountain of Vexthal, and then like snake our way through the invisible walls to where we needed to be in the zone. And so when Dredd said he wanted to do that last night, I was all for it. But Floyd had never done it because he had just joined. So it was really cool being on comms, helping him figure it out. And Dredd was just as patient of a person as I am. So it was really relaxed and wasn't a big deal. And he figured it out, got it on his second try. And we were able to fight the Shade, and we killed it pretty quickly, maybe 5-minute fight, and it dropped loot, and then nothing too great, I don't think. And then we killed the rest of the. There was like two other. There was like a giant alligator that we fought in the zone that dropped an elemental armor piece, and then there was a. Was it a? I think it was a spider, another like named spider. And then that was Wednesday night. That was a great time. Um, so yeah, so Thursday night, last night, I ended up grouping with Dread again, and we started a Plane of Fire XP group, which is in Planes of Power expansion is the best experience that you can get. I guess the experience zone modifier or how quickly the mobs go down is really good. You go to the Castle 1 area or you go to Castle 2 area, and you can just pull these guys nonstop as much as you want. Their aggro ranges are really small, so they don't social. They can social if they're too close or if you're line of sight in some way, but it's kind of rare. You can single pull these guys even when they're really close to each other, and it was cool, man. It was just nice and relaxing last night, just chilling, talking, chatting. Um, Zooted played with us too. Zooted happened to be in the group as well, so it was me, Zooted, his two boxes, um, and Dread, and then a cleric. No, Dread was the cleric, and then an outside person came. Who was the other? There was another guy the guy that we played with last night. Chiswick, I think is his name. He'd raided with Faceless and some other servers, and had just came back like a week or two ago on a Necromancer, and he was pretty cool. And it was just a fun, relaxing 4 hour grind session. I was just I like it. I like polling because I get into this kind of a flow state. I got my music playing, just talking on the Discord and talking on chat, and it's a nice flow state to just like go through a camp and like kind of know the lap that you're doing, and then it was like I wanted to speed it up a little bit and see if we could do more. So I tried to make sure we always had 2 mobs in camp at all times, and then pull from the upper ramparts area and just get the entire castle on a rotation of ponage. We ran into a boxer ended up showing up last night. A guy playing like 6 characters at once appeared at the top of the ramps of the castle, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess it's a free Norath. I'm not gonna say anything or but yeah. So when something like that happens, I get my competitive spirit starts to flare, and it's like I just want to get all the mobs before anybody else can. So it adds another element of gamesmanship to my experience where it's like I kind of like it. It's like, okay, there's some heat on. If I don't get these guys, he's gonna get them, and I don't have because we're already there. I don't have a problem trying to swipe the mobs that spawn up in those ramparts from him. But it's all going on in my own head. I'm not, it's just something that I'm experiencing and having fun with. Apparently you don't want to train people or cause harm or like cause issues to other people, especially box crews, because this is what they told me last night. They said box crews will get you like instantly suspended because there's 6 characters on 6 different accounts, and if they all push a petition through, you can get suspended like real quickly. So that was good to know. I did not know that. So yeah, ended up 4 hour session, Plane of Fire, got 20 AAs, and then about 4% of XP of my level to get to 66 whenever that happens. I'm not quite sure when. I don't know how long we're staying at 65. I don't know when the level 70 happens, but I figured I'd just grab some extra XP. And that was my week of play this week. It was really fun. It was nice seeing people on the Discord say they've been listening, and it's Zayd put out a new episode of Drama Quest, which was a really good listen, and yeah, it's just fun to be involved. And yeah, no, nothing really left to talk about when it comes to the play. Now I got some stuff about the podcast end of this thing. Marketing, how self-promotion, how does this work? I do not know. Building an audience, okay? So let me just share my mindset going into this, and then the walls that I ran into through the course of this last week. So I when I first got the idea for the show, there were some ideas of people I wanted to bring on the show, and I was reaching out to them to see if they would, and the people that I reached out to weren't interested in coming in the show. So I was like, okay, well, I think part of it might be because people don't know what I'm doing or what the show's about, or they don't even know who I am or why I want to do this, or they don't have any idea about how I am, like, because it could be weird and awkward. And I could imagine, I can imagine being, I mean, if I'm gun shy about being on Discord comms, I can imagine being like, it'd be weird to go on a podcast. So I didn't take anything personally, but I saw that like it would behoove me to release an episode of myself talking and a guest. So there was at least a template that when I asked somebody again, that they'd be able to listen and see that it wasn't that scary. It's not, it's really just a relaxed conversation. There's no drama really. I don't think. I'm not trying to do the drama thing. So yeah, so that was my mentality, and that's I had to hound my brother for a week, or 2 weeks to get him on the show because I was like, man, if I can just get one guest, and I know you'll come on, I know it'll help me get more guests, and so I got him on the show, and then it was, and then I knew I could ask Doomsday because we know each other pretty well over the last 3 years, but I still wanted to have an episode with a guest on, so Doomsday could listen just in case he was kind of ambivalent about it or not. But he said like yes instantly. So then I got Doomsday was my first guest that was outside of my brother, which I knew if I just bothered my brother enough he would do it. So that was a huge milestone for the show. And so I was like, okay, so we got this. I listened back to it, and we got this great episode, which I love, and I listened to it twice, and it's just what I've been looking to hear. Is like I just want to hear EverQuest stories. I just want to hear people that play the game and how they like the game and what brings them to it and what they get from it. And I was like, okay, well, so now that I've got this, let's share it. Let's try and share it so people know it exists. The same way I wish that it would exist. Like the reason that I made the show was because, well, I've said it a bunch of times, but I'm literally on episode 5 of Drama Quest, my third listen to the series, and I'm always on the EQ subreddit. I'm always on the Facebook EverQuest group, and I'm looking for stuff that I can listen to, and I never see it. So this week I decided I'll go share the Doomsday episode on these platforms. And I wrote a little thing about, who I am, what I'm doing, and what the guest is and what the show's about. And I shared it on Reddit, and I shared it on the Facebook group. And it went through the Facebook group. So the Facebook group didn't stop the post from being shared, but on the EverQuest subreddit, the moderators said took the post down and said they don't allow self-promotion. And so I'm like, shit. And this is not the first time this has happened. And then Doomsday's messaging me, and Doomsday's like, hey, share it on the Discord so people know it exists. And I'm like, I can't share it on the Discord. I've tried to share stuff on Discords in the past, and I always get hit with the same thing. Like, we don't allow self-promotion. Matter of fact, it's just kind of awkward. It's just awkward to make something in one of and then to try to and then to share it in the place where there's people. I don't know, it's just weird. I don't know how to explain it. And that's what's making me try to figure out, like, what is self-promotion and what is just sharing something because you think people will like it. And is there a difference? Is it possible to do an absolutely selfless act? Because when the moderators came back from the EverQuest subreddit and said, you can't do this because it's self-promotion, I was like, ugh, like, they're not wrong. Like, there's something here. There's a reason I'm sharing this. There's something I want. And then I talked to Melissa about it, and I was like, this is frustrating to me. I can usually tell it's selfish because I get frustrated. If I experience like a lower spectrum emotion, even high emotions, well, more likely not, lower spectrum emotions, anger, is a big one. If I recognize that there's anger or frustration, I know that it's inherently there's a meanness going on here. Like me. Why can't I? Why is this happening to me? I should be able to do this. So what that showed me was that in some respect it was an act of self-promotion. Um, and then Melissa was like, well, if you can't just post your podcast there and invite people to listen to it, why don't you make a poll and ask the community if they would like a podcast like this? And if they say yes, send it to them individually. And I was like, that's a great idea. Um, and I haven't done it. I haven't done it because to me it's kind of just it's just the same thing. It's just a sneakier way of going about getting the podcast heard. So I'm at a loss. I don't quite know how to share what I can do to share this thing or to market it because I don't think that it can be done in a way that is not self promotion. Um, I can't. I don't want to share it in the guild Discord because I'm not. Who am I? Like it's not in my mind. I think I would want to see it there, and I would listen to it if somebody else shared it because I really love podcasts. But I'm not other people. I can't just base base my decisions on what I think is best or what I think is right or what I think should happen. Like it's other people's domain. Like the Discord is Zaid and the faceless officers. Like it's their thing. It's their rules. The EverQuest subreddit, whoever moderates and runs that, that's their space. It's not mine. Like if I can't just because I feel a type of way and I think that there might be someone like me that wants to hear this, that I should be allowed extra privileges to the rule. The rules are there for a good reason, I think. I don't know what that reason is. Um, I can imagine, though, I could imagine it being very frustrating if you're trying just to run like a pure community where people connect with each other based on who they are rather than whatever things they think they want others to listen to. I get it. But I'm at a loss. I don't know how to market the show. I don't know how to do it in a way that's not self-promotion. So I don't know how to get it out there. I don't know how to let people know that it exists more than just sharing it on my X feed, sharing it on my Instagram, um, and then just inviting people to the show and then hoping they tell their friends or hoping that they connect me with someone else that wants to come on the show and um, grow it that way, I guess. I'm open to ideas. I don't know. Um, so that's where I'm at with the marketing and the self promotion. I'm aware. Like it's like you can is there really such thing as a selfless act? I know there is. I experience it all the time. That's why it's so visceral when I notice that I'm being selfish. Like when the selfish, it's a tough word, but like when the ego or the me or there's something that I want or something I want to get is at play, and I am not interested in living and being in that mode of operation. I did it for many years. And even if I wasn't conscious of it, subconsciously this thing is at play. There's something that wants to get something, and I don't like it. I'd prefer to just exist in a moment in time, be present, grounded, and engaged with whatever is occurring for the sake of experience itself. So yeah, I don't know what the answer is for the self promotion. I don't know what the answer is for marketing. Um, I'm just gonna keep plugging along, because hell, honestly, it really doesn't matter if people listen to it or not. But that's another thing. Like I would like to have a successful show. So there is a part of me that wants to succeed. Um, so I just have to continue figuring it out as we go. I assume. Um, yeah. So got one other thing to talk about. Two things really, really just one thing. So I'd like to have a portion of the show today, or maybe in the future too. I want to share awesome EverQuest stuff on the show that y'all should check out. So you've heard about Drama Quest. 100% go listen to Drama Quest. That's a given. That's going to be a running through line through the course of this series. And I'd like to share things that I find that are really cool that have to do with EverQuest. And there's a Reddit user named David21 on Reddit, and he's been posting this just amazing EverQuest art on the P99 subreddit. And I'll put my cover art today is featuring those pieces, and he's got a website called www.unnamedsequel.com. UNNAMEDSEQUEL.com. And he'll commission these pieces. So if you see something you like on there, he'll do a print or do something about it to get it to you. And I think he also commissions work. So if you have an idea, he'll draft something for you. But this is it's the best EverQuest art I've seen. It's got soul to it. It's got a soul to it it reminds me. It's just a grittiness. It's like a gritty nostalgia. It's almost, when I look at the artwork, it's almost like it's what my childlike senses felt when I was in the pixelated world of Norath in the Firat, or in Cabalus, or the undercurrent of grittiness and like macabre. And it and I mean, EverQuest, you don't really think macabre. That's probably I don't know if that's the right word for it, but you know that there's dervishes about, rogues about. And it was Norath has never really been a happy-go-lucky rainbows and unicorns place. It's always been a kind of a, like, it's kind of racist. It's like humans don't let Ixars come around, or dark elves. Like, all the races are divided. They all have their different gods. It's yeah, it's there's some darkness, or I guess there's some chaos underneath the surface of what goes on amongst the denizens of Norath. And these pieces really capture that. And yeah, I want to encourage anybody who's interested in solid EverQuest artwork, which I know I am, and I know Queston is. He's got pieces up on his wall of the Bard epic that another guy did. And highly encourage you, go check out this website, unnamedsequel.com. Amazing EverQuest art. And that's it. That's it for today. Talking to a couple. Oh, look, you can see sweat under my arms. Talking to a couple guests. I'm trying a couple of guests for the next week. One of the guests, I don't want to say the names in case they end up not coming on the show, and I don't want them to feel weird or anything. But one of the guests is my best friend since the third grade, who introduced me to EverQuest. I know if I just hound him enough, he'll come on, but I hope he'll do it after 3 asks rather than 4 or 5 like it took Queston. So I want him on. I want to just hear his experience. We've got an interesting story about our friendship. We broke up for a little bit and reconnected through Norath in a pretty fun way. And I'd like to have that story and his perspective on it too, and capture that. And then another guest that I'm talking to that I hope comes on is, when I think of this guy, I just think of excellence. I think of the ideal man. I think of Doc Holliday from Tombstone. I think, like, cool as a cucumber, always knows his shit, doesn't take it too seriously, is in it for having a good time, doesn't have a problem with being a degenerate. That's who this guy is. And he was, when I first started thinking about a show, he was one of the first names that came to mind of someone I would love. I didn't know what I would ever get to have on the show, but I would love to if the opportunity ever happened. Because he's a wealth of knowledge, he's a wealth of experience, and he's a strong personality. And I hope he comes on the show. I don't want to say his name, but if he does, you'll know him because he's I think he's I don't know. Well, I think he's what I said. I think that he embodies the ideal man, and that's just what it is. He is the ideal EverQuest man, one of the ideals. So that's what we got coming up. Thank you all for joining. Thanks for listening. In the words of Tomias, if no one said they love you, Tomias does for sure. And Tomias is all of us. There's a little Tomias in all of us, and it loves you. And I hope you have a most excellent day.